On TrendChat, we talk with the newly elected chairman of the Republican Party of Texas, James Dickey, and we talk a little bit about James Comey and President Trump blocking people on Twitter, and is that a violation of First Amendment rights? A little bit about the NBA Finals and running in movies, and also chance to win a $100 voucher on wine from WSJWine.com. All this on this episode of TrendChat. Welcome everybody. Welcome to the 36th episode of TrendChat. Yes, I haven't mentioned the episode number in a while, but I mentioned this for a particular reason, because now we are at, well, we're now over 1,000 plays on Spreaker. Hey, yeah, all right. Yes, keep it up, yeah. Okay. All right. Now cut that off. But yeah, appreciate everyone listening. We are now over 1,000 plays on Spreaker. Like I've said before, the fact that having one person listen I'm grateful for one play. So to have 1,000, that's great. And we're at, this is the, like I said, 36th episode. So just wanted to mention that and say again, appreciate everyone listening in. And before I get into what I posted on social media today, if you want to connect with us on social media, just go to TrendChat. Well, type in TrendChat 24/7, whether on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter. That would be important when I talk about how to win the $100 wine voucher from WSJWine.com. So pay attention to that. I'll mention the details later. I know I mentioned it on Tuesday's program. Hopefully, if you were able to hear it. But I will mention that again later in the program. So also, I write for politichicks.com. And if you want to read my articles there, go to politichicks.com/author/Brian Bledsoe. And a new book from Politichicks, a clearing call to political activism, is available on Amazon and Barnes & Noble. And one of my articles about being a delegate at the Republican National Convention up in Cleveland last year, is featured in the book, along with plenty other articles, and from a lot of the great contributors at Politichicks, covering a number of topics like education, healthcare, activism, where my article is featured in that section. And so definitely encourage everyone to pick up a copy of that book. And maybe we will soon have something as far as giving away a book or something to the people who are listening, especially since we're at 1,000 plays now. Yep. And it's funny, I posted on social media all across about, I did the math on this, and I don't know if I mentioned in the beginning, I think I might have, but I was thinking about, I wonder, we'll get to a million plays one day. And now that we've reached 1,000, and I actually did the math. Now, I would say check my math to anyone who's listening, but I'm pretty confident in it. Somewhat. I'm about 67% confident in my math. But so right now we're at 1,000 plays, and if I want to reach 1 million, I would have to do 35,000 episodes at this rate. And I would be at least over 300 years old. So hey, you never know. There has been a lot of advances in the medical field, and we could be going back to biblical times. I might be like Methuselah, but I wouldn't. At 300, I still wouldn't be near where Methuselah was at 900, over 900 years old. But hey, like I said, you never know. I could be on here at 300, still talking about that time in 2016 when I was a national delegate at the Republican National Convention. Still talking about the book, the Politics book, because it might be the only book I will be in. And I'll still be talking about it. Yeah, you can still pick it up at 300 years old. I don't know, Amazon still exists, but I still say you can pick it up at some antique bookstore somewhere. But yeah. So that was the math I did on it, and yeah, so it would take, yeah, so 300 episodes. I'm saying at this rate, at the average of how many people listening to the show, and also how many times I do the show. So obviously, you notice it's Tuesday and Thursday every week. So at that rate, that will, for me to get to 1 million, that's what I would have to do. Now, that's great. And I'll see y'all at 300. So, but, if you want to, like quicken, speed that pace up a little bit. So, maybe you don't have to tell your grandchildren to listen to me when I finally hit 1 million and I play this little, sound here. Yay, we had 1 million. We finally made it, y'all. but if you want to speed that up a little bit, all I will say is that, as I said before, if you like it, share it, subscribe on Google Play, iTunes. And if you really like it, then tell your friends and have them tell their friends and have them tell their friends, and then have them tell some rich person in advertising or in radio or podcasting. Then we, take off. I might get to 1 million by 100 then. So, hey, I don't know. That's if you want to. I would appreciate it. But, and, so yeah. Yep, that, like I said, I'm just, I just think about the fact that having just this many, I'm still grateful for just where I'm at now. So that being said, now I don't know why I just played that. I just played it because I haven't played that in a while, but actually that fits. Now think about it, because we are broadcasting from Orlando, Florida, and it's very cloudy and it's been raining a lot. So we are here for next day or so, and I tend to call this my happy place. I really like being here in Orlando, like going to Universal, especially when Disney World too, but I really like Universal. So and so yeah, that's where we're broadcasting from. And also that's kind of was a little bit of a transition to talk about James Comey, which they just had the hearing yesterday. And, James Comey has an on again, off again love relationship with, depending on who you like at that time that he's speaking, basically. You just never know. And it's actually, for a FBI director, former FBI director now, that's actually a good thing for an FBI director to be someone that you don't know. Shouldn't be a partisan position. So, but yeah, they had the hearing, and where now he's he's saying that he was fired because of the Russia investigation. And for me personally, one thing that kind of sticks out is in March he mentioned that he haven't experienced being pressured to drop the investigation in March. But now in the hearing, he mentioned about, and also in the Comey memo that was the rage probably a couple of weeks ago, that he was approached in February to drop the investigation, basically. And so kind of I don't get where he's coming from. And then it kind of reminds me of last year too, because in July of last year, he drops the investigation on Hillary and then picks it back up in October. And so it's kind of, you kind of know what is true. What is, I don't know where he's going with this. So that's kind of how I feel about the whole hearing, basically. I mean, it's not the in-depth analysis like you would get from your cable news, but this is TrendChat. This is me. So this is where you get my opinion, and that's where I'm at. So now, speaking of President Trump, there's a little story that's kind of getting, I guess, trending up at least in Google, at least, and that there's a article or a couple of articles kind of mentioning that President Trump has blocked some people from his personal account on Twitter. And they're asking the question, is this unconstitutional? Is this a violation of First Amendment rights? And when I looked further into it, now what happened is that a couple of people were blocked from the personal Twitter account of President Trump, at real Donald Trump. That's the personal account. He also has the official president account, which is POTUS. And having that distinction is what makes me think that this is not a constitutional crisis as how they want to make it seem, because this is his personal account that they're being blocked from, not the official, White House account or the official presidential account, I guess. So everyone has the right to, as far as their personal account, they don't have to have people in their timeline if they don't want them, and again, this is his, basically you say like a private account or a personal account, but if he has every right to block people off on that account, as anyone else does. I will see more of a problem if it was on the presidential account. Granted that a lot of the statements and tweets that he make is on his personal account as opposed to his POTUS account, but still it is his personal account, and he should have the right to block whoever he wants to block on that account, not on the POTUS account. But I just think this is another one of them stories that the media is just grabbing onto, kind of like the James Comey hearing. Even if there's a little bit of evidence, or in so many cases, I would say even if there's not evidence at all, anything that puts a Republican, and I'm not talking about just President Trump, anything that puts a Republican in a negative light, basically most of the media just gonna latch on to it and make the most out of it, and kind of like this, President Trump blocking people on Twitter, and that's true just because they're Republican. It's not even, if you're a conservative and you don't like President Trump, or you never did, or if you're never Trump, and you're still a Republican, to the media they're all the same. Just being a Republican is just that they're the enemy, and they treat them all the same, whether we like them or not, whoever it is. So whether it's the most liberal Republican out there, they're still will be treated the same. Probably a little, not as much, but still, because they're Republican, they'll be treated just the same as the most conservative Republican that you could think of. So that's just how the media sees it, at least. And so you have all these different stories coming out, and anything, like I said, anything that will put a Republican in a negative light, media just gonna run with it. Actually, I saw a graphic from PragerU saying that 96% of media outlets, people in the media, donated to Hillary Clinton. So it's not surprising to me, at least. If it's surprising to you, where you been? But hey, at least you know now and understand where a lot of the people in media are coming from when they're reporting these news. There's a big gap between what the people that were reporting and basically everyday Americans who are watching and listening to what the media is putting out. So, yep. So those two subjects aside, you know what? I'm just gonna play another. Wonder anybody remember that sound? I'm just feeling, I guess I'm going nostalgic right now, given, we had 1,000 plays and just playing old stuff now. So if you haven't listened to the show, you know what that was. That used to be the beginning of TrendChat. I used to play that before I start talking and whatnot. But now we have, this nice music now to play, and that right there. But yeah, I feel like I'm just playing around with the sound right now, but yeah, so that was a transition. That was supposed to be a transition. It kind of went into a ramble, but now just want to talk about as far as a little bit of basketball and the NBA Finals. Well, now it's almost over because the Golden State Warriors are up 3-0 on the Cleveland Cavaliers. And the next game, I'm not going to say when the next game is, not because I want to keep you in mystery, because I just don't, I haven't looked it up and I don't know. And I messed up on Tuesday saying that it was on Tuesday and actually it was yesterday. So it's soon. It's in the next couple of days. My guess is it probably is on Sunday. Just my guess off the top of my head, just because. But yeah. So, and right as of right now, the Golden State Warriors are undefeated in the playoffs, in the postseason right now. And they just have one more game to win and have a perfect playoff season. And yeah, that's pretty cool. Actually, I wouldn't mind that happening. A lot of people tend to, I guess, get upset, kind of don't want to see teams have a perfect record. Whether it's like the New England Patriots a couple of years ago when they went to Super Bowl undefeated, and people were basically hating on the Patriots just because of that. Well, it wasn't just because of that, but there were people like they don't want to see a team go undefeated. And I don't get that from why people feel that way. I like to see people achieve excellence to the highest, which being undefeated is pretty up there. So, and just for that fact alone, I would actually want to see the Golden State Warriors win now, just to see them go undefeated in the playoffs. That'd be kind of cool to see. That's history making. And it's funny. I don't know. I don't want to get all psychological about it, but the people who don't want to see undefeated streaks or undefeated, see a team or a person go undefeated, it kind of seems like it makes them feel less than, or makes them feel bad about themselves because this person or this team is doing extraordinary things and maybe they're not, and jealous and, like I said, being a hater, I guess, about it. But just, jealousy and envy. I don't know. But not me. I want to see that. I like to see history making events, whether it would have been the New England Patriots back then or maybe the Golden State Warriors now. And, I like to see dominance. I like to see excellence to the highest. I like to see things like that. So, yeah. Hopefully that happens in the future, in the next couple of days. I maybe should have looked it up, what the day was, but you can find out. For me, I haven't watched much of the finals myself, because the cable app that I have on my phone, which is Sling, just to give them a shout out. Maybe they're listening. Maybe they want to, advertise on TrendChat one day. So, but I like the app that I have, but one of the channels I don't have is ABC. And so I'm not able to watch the finals, which is fine. I just follow on social media, check on Twitter or Facebook or something, and kind of get the highlights and go from there. So, yeah, that's enough on basketball. And, just on the sake, we're going to talk with the newly elected chairman of the Republican Party of Texas, James Dickey, shortly. And also details on how to get a $100 voucher from WSJWine.com to, get $100 off on some wine. So I'll give more details about that later on as well. So, but one last thing, just I want to mention about a movie coming out quickly. The Mummy, which I think is a reboot of a reboot. If it's not a 2-time reboot, I know it's a reboot from the one that came out maybe 10, 15 years ago, starring Brendan Fraser. But this time, it stars Tom Cruise. And all the reason I'm mentioning it for 2 reasons. One, it's not getting good reviews already, according to Rotten Tomatoes. The critics are not liking it, which I don't take all my stock in critics, kind of like what I mentioned on Wonder Woman last week. Is obviously, now Wonder Woman had great reviews, but when it comes to critics, it's kind of like when I talk about the media, they have a very liberal agenda. And not saying like The Mummy is a political movie, but especially a lot of the liberal, not just the liberal media, but the critics especially, regardless of if the movie is political, they are looking for their social activism, their social agenda to be advocated for in like everything. So even if this movie is not supposed to be political, if it's not advancing some sort of social justice, whatever their progressive liberal agenda, if those ideals are not being advanced in their movie or not being highlighted in their movie, they tend to not want to give it much praise, or especially if it's a conservative point of view that is being promoted, then they're definitely not going to like it. Like the movie, they're not going to give it a positive review. So that's why I don't put all my stock into critics and what they're saying, because I figured that's a lot of times that's where they're coming from, regardless of whether the movie's supposed to be political. But yeah, but like I said, it's not doing well. Right now it's in the 20s on Rotten Tomatoes as far as the critics go. But the other reason I mentioned it, because Tom Cruise is the lead in this movie. And one thing about Tom Cruise, I will say, he is the most realistic runner in movie history. I mean, when he runs in a movie, it looks like it's life or death. It looks like whatever he's running from or running to is like it's all coming down to him catching them or running away from them, because it is he really puts some realism into his acting when he runs, especially. I almost think that it's in his contract now. So like, if he's having any movie, regardless if it's an action movie, he can be doing a romance movie where I think it's in his contract. He must run. He must have a running scene in every one of his movies. Can you imagine that? Like, if it's not an action movie, if it's like a romance movie, and I don't know, he put in a running scene to him running to his love. There's a woman on the other side of other side of the town or something. Like, he's looking down the hall, or maybe he's see her from afar, and he just takes off running just so he can get his running scene in a romance movie. But yeah, I think his running style is very realistic, and every time I see him, I feel like he's about to die, and he really got to get away or catch whoever it is in these films. Like regardless of, like I said, Mission Impossible, Jack Reacher, all his action movies, and even in the trailer, I think there's a running scene in the trailer, so he's running from the Mummy. So, but yeah, so yep. I just wanted to mention that before we get to the interview with Chairman Dickey. So right now we're gonna get to our interview from yesterday. Got a chance to speak with Chairman Dickey a little bit, and we actually served as national delegates up at the convention in Cleveland last year, and we actually went the week before because I don't know how many people know that before the convention that everyone sees on TV, there is a meeting where a lot of the actual work is done the week before the convention, and that's where we attended a lot of the meetings there. Learned a lot. I did, especially I know being there for the first time. I said when people ask about being at the convention, the word I use is educational, because I definitely learned a lot about the process, how things are done, and there were some things I didn't like to see, but nevertheless, I still learned about how everything works and how things go, and how long these meetings can be sometimes too. So, yep. So also, I want to mention this too. Right before you even started listening to this, I was having major audio issues on my end. This had nothing to do with Chairman Dickey. It was all on me. But if you heard the last episode on Tuesday, you might have noticed that my mic was fading ever so slowly, and I didn't know that. I didn't hear the last part of it, the show last on Tuesday, and so I guess that went on into the interview I had with Chairman Dickey, and my mic was all messed up, and it was a quick fix, but it was something I just didn't know about that I had to fix, but it was after the fact, so I had to use my editing skills that I previously didn't have until I started learning how to do this. And so I basically salvaged the interview as much as possible to make sure you were able to hear the interview. And so you're going to hear my editing skills at work. And, one thing about it, I definitely learned some more skills, a little bit of skill, a very basic skill as far as sound editing, I guess. And so, but I did learn something. So that was a good thing. And I can take this, and if I have a similar situation, I now know how to fix it, at least how to go in the direction of fixing it, put it that way. So, yep. So that being said, here's our interview with Chairman Dickey.
Hello, this is TrendChat. I'm your host, Brian Bledsoe, and we are pleased to have the newly elected chairman of the Republican Party of Texas, James Dickey. How are you doing?
I'm doing really well, Brian. Boy, it's good to talk to you again. It was great being a fellow national delegate with you last year. Really appreciated getting to know you, and really excited to be on your show.
Yeah, and it's funny because on Saturday I was at a FedEx office, actually watching the everything that was going on through Facebook, and we in FedEx tend to be kind of like a library. It's pretty quiet in there. And then when I saw the vote go down, I almost started clapping. People, there are like one or two people in there, and I kind of like, and then I noticed, I forgot I'm in in a quiet place. What were the circumstances as far as you being elected on Saturday?
Sure. So the prior chairman of the state party, Tom Meckler, decided that apparently the way he had been running the party and the way he runs his business, it was just being it was far too overwhelming for him, and it was becoming a serious problem all around. His business was suffering, and the party was as well, and so he decided he really needed to step down and do so quickly. So he announced 2 weeks before the next SREC meeting, because the bylaws require the bylaws give the chairman 2 options. You can do an irrevocable future date resignation to allow a lot of time for a campaign to go on and a lot of time for the SRC to get to know new people and so on. Or you do an immediate resignation, in which case you have to give 10 days notice before 10 days notice for an election, and then the next chance the SRC is able to meet, because they're not allowed to do votes by the phone or any other way. The next chance they need to have a vote. And so Saturday, the SRC voted on who the next chairman would be for the party, and fortunately, by 1 vote, I was elected chairman.
Okay. Yeah, and I got I'm pretty much sure everyone got the email about your pledge to the RPT, and actually the first note, issue you put on your pledge is as far as advancing the platform, and actually have a unique opportunity now, given that we know that a special session will be called on July the 18th. And I remember during one of the forums that you said that you heard from people up in Austin that the party tends to not hold much power up there. And from what you said in your email, so what are you looking to do as far as changing that now, especially with this upcoming session?
Right. So, the most important thing we can do is make sure that the voice of all the delegates, the voice of the grassroots, the voters that are the heart of the Republican Party, that voice is clearly heard, in the halls of the Capitol. That's not been true up till now. And so that's unfortunate, because that's been a missed opportunity. So the first thing we could do, we sent the governor a letter on Monday. Now, unfortunately, obviously, from what we've seen, a whole lot of things were already in the works by Monday. So it wasn't a missed opportunity, but boy, we were definitely on the back end of it when we sent that letter on Monday. Then we heard Tuesday morning the governor was going to do a call. I called his staff and said, okay, I understand we're very much on the back end of this, but would you please, at least take a look at the letter, and to the extent you can, it's not already too late, please, whatever you can from the items in the letter or in the platform. And then the announcement came out yesterday afternoon, and we were already ready and able and prepared to be part of the conversation. And that's really the big we're going to be, we the grassroots, we the voters, the Republican voters of Texas, are going to be part of the conversation at the Capitol. And that's what's new.
Do you know when the special session, how long does it normally take? How long is a special session?
Special sessions are always 30 days. So they have exactly 30 days starting July 18th. So they've got 40 days or so to prepare for this day special session. So the governor is confident that should they be able to should they be interested in doing what he's asked them to do, that they will be able to do so.
Just want to touch on one other thing. I know you had a number of different things in your email, but one in particular, and talking about outreach, and like point 2, 3, and 4 kind of combined together as far as when it comes to outreach. And one thing I've mentioned before on the program as far as even in outreach in whether it's in minority communities and whatnot. And one thing I've said, at least, is that it takes a very strong, persistent, a long-term commitment to really get a foothold as far as getting more people over to the party.
Yeah, I could not agree more. I mean, these one-off kind of efforts are not what will make the change long-term. We need we need to build relationships and consistently do so, and do so, in a really strong manner. And those relationships need to be based off of shared goals and objectives and principles. And so that's why in Travis County, one of the things we did was just look for every opportunity we could find to be able to fight together, to fight side by side, to get something done. And so we worked together with LULAC and the NAACP to get the city council rules changed. So we had a chance to actually get good representation on the city council. We worked with folks in the east side of Austin to fight against bonds that would make things unaffordable and just make life worse. And every chance we get to work together is what will build serious, long-time respect and relationships.
Yeah, man, I definitely agree with you. And I know you. I know you're very busy, and I don't want to keep you. And I just want to say, congratulations again. And like I said, with this special session coming up, hopefully it will show to be a great opportunity and upholding the platform for the party, because that's one thing that I've been kind of upset about, as far as not seeing the platform actually being upheld, or at least being looked at.
Yeah, we're going to take part. We're going to take the platform. We're taking the work of the party, the work of the delegates, work of the voters, very, very seriously. We're going to communicate on it consistently. And yesterday afternoon, we did that within hours of the governor's announcement. We already had out a piece on the 10 items that he had put in his call that are right out of our platform, and pointing out where they're from and encouraging, all Republicans across Texas to, really vocally and visibly support those items and support the legislature to support those items.
Chairman Dickey, I appreciate your time, and hopefully we'll have you on in the future.
That's wonderful. I can't wait to be on again. Thanks, Brian.
And thanks to Chairman Dickey for joining us. And again, like you heard my masterful editing skills there, and like I mentioned before, everyone that's listening, it's on this journey with me as far as me as I learn how to do this whole podcasting thing and all the parts as far as what I need to do, and even coming on every Tuesday and Thursday and just sound editing, and doing all that. So y'all are with me on this journey to 300 and going back and talking about, the whole 1,000 plays. So yeah, this is only the beginning. When I get to 200, I probably maybe have finally got, the hang of this. So yeah, like I said, thanks to Chairman Dickey for joining us, and just want to mention a group that I always mention. If you've been listening, of course, you know who I'm about to talk about. It's the Founder Project. And don't have much I'm going to say about it, because all I'm going to do now is refer to you to the episode last week when we talked to Maggie Dine about the Founder Project. We talked for about maybe 30 minutes about the Founder Project. And quickly, the Founder Project is about bringing civics to citizens, educating citizens on the founding documents like the Declaration of Independence, Constitution, and just basically what it means to be a citizen in the United States. And if you want to know more, either go to that episode last week with Maggie Dine and listen to her give a lot more details on the Founding Project, or go to Facebook and type in The Founding Project to go to their Facebook page and Facebook group. So now is the moment I don't know, maybe some of y'all have been waiting for. I don't know how many of y'all that are listening like wine, but here are the details. So I have a $100 wine voucher from WSJWine.com, and one person will win that voucher. And if you want to enter the contest, here are the details. Like, follow on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Kind of the same thing I mentioned in the beginning. What I mentioned at the beginning of every program. Like, follow on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TrendChat 24/7. It's all the same name across all the social media platforms. So just like, follow Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TrendChat 24/7. That's the first step. Now, some of y'all have already liked TrendChat on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter. And thank you. And this is for everyone in that sense. So if you haven't already, like I said before, like, follow Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TrendChat 24/7. And then everyone to enter in the contest, message hashtag TrendChat on either one of those platforms. Again, just message hashtag TrendChat on either one of the platforms. Either, just a message or in a tweet, or, if you want to add something more to it, but yeah, message hashtag TrendChat. And obviously, if you are on all three platforms, you have more of a chance of winning. So, like, follow on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and everyone to hashtag TrendChat. Send a message, hashtag TrendChat. That's how you enter in to win the $100 wine voucher from WSJWine.com. And last thing, this is for first time customers of WSJWine.com. So if you're already a customer, unfortunately, you can't use the voucher. So, all right. Now we got that out the way. Hope, good luck to whoever wins, I guess. And, yep. Thank you for listening. And like I said, we're here at the past 1,000. Now we're on the hashtag 1,000,000. TrendChat million. I don't know. Hashtag TrendChat forever. Because, like I said, I'll be doing this till 300. So it's TrendChat forever. Hashtag TrendChat forever. So appreciate everyone listening. And until Tuesday, we'll chat with you later.